Hey guys, here's a little presentation to show you how you can be a millionaire. I've got some tools that you can download. There should be a link down below where you can go to shared Google Drive and download the files and play with them on your own, use your own numbers. There's an investment calculator, there's a millionaire goal line, there's a 401k planner, there's a 401k selection um, advice tool, and then we're going to talk a little bit about early retirement. And there's an early retirement planner as well, so you can download those files after you watch the video and then play with them. And if you've got any questions, or if you didn't get it all, you can watch the video again to get a better understanding. So let's get started. This is my investment calculator. This is a lot of fun to play with because it shows you the future value of your investment. You put in your invested amount here at whatever age you invest, and then we're mostly going to be jumping over to this column, which is the stock market column, to see what kind of returns you get on that investment. I've used 12% for the stock market return and 4% for the inflation rate. So this column is going to show you an effective rate of return of 8%, 12 minus 4. Okay, here's a quick example just to demonstrate the effects of inflation. Let's say you're 20 years old and you and 9 of your friends go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac. That's $50. So you're buying all your friends' Big Macs. If you had taken that same $50 and invested it, and we flash forward to age 60, we highlight the 60 line, you'll see in a Japanese bank account you'd have $10. So 80 of your friends now wouldn't be having Big Macs. And if you put in a US bank, you'd be down to $33. So 4 of your friends would go hungry at the McDonald's on that as well. But we look over here in the stock market column and we've got $1,472. Clearly, that's a lot of Big Macs. And the reason for that is because, again, we're using 12% minus 4%, which is 8% real rate of return. When we subtract the 4% inflation from the 3% and less than 1% bank interest rates here, you end up with a minus number that actually depletes your original investment. So when people talk about a deposit in the bank as being safe, it's actually a guaranteed loss. Whereas if the stock market just returns even half of this, you're way ahead of what you can do in the bank. Now let's do an investment example. Let's say you're a McDonald's worker, you're a low-wage earner, you can only save $100 a month. So we're going to put in $1,200 a month $1,200 a year from age 20 all the way down to age 70. And we're going to see what that does for us. I'm just copying and pasting that number forward. And at age 70, you will have $1,000,000. And that will generate a monthly income without depleting the $1,000,000 of $6,687 a month, give or take. If you want to retire at age 60, let's say you're content with $431,000, you're going to draw $2,874 a month, which is probably more than what you were making at McDonald's anyway, just by saving $100 a month. And again, that's inflation adjusted. So when we're talking about these numbers, that's in today's dollars. If I were to remove this inflation number and show a 12%, that's actually going to show $1,000,000 at age 58. But that's not a realistic conversation to have because that's not inflation adjusted. So that's not $1,000,000 in today's money. So let's go ahead and keep that 4% in there and use the inflation adjusted numbers. Okay, let's give another quick example. Let's say you graduated from college and you got a great job. You never made this much money. You decide to just go crazy and max out your Roth 401k and Roth IRA just for 2 years, 22 to 23. 2 years, you got a great job. You decide to save forward. Check this out. At age 60, you will already have over $1,000,000. You hit $1,000,000 at 59 just from investing for 2 years and then never again. Okay, let's give another example. You're 20 years old, you're a normal American. You decide to take on a car payment at 320 times 12, and that's going to go on for 5 years. We're going to copy that forward. And you drive that car for a couple years, and then you decide to upgrade because you got to keep up with the Joneses here, right? And we're going to put that in there, and we're going to copy that forward for another 4 years because having a car payment's normal, right? Oops, did I do that? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's 10 years of car payments. Now let's scroll forward and see what kind of damage you did. At age 62, that would have been over $1 million, $6,800 a month. Hope you like those cars. Okay, let's do one last example for an older person now. Say you got to 50 years old and you don't have anything. At 50 years old, the amount you can put in goes up to $30,500 for both the 401k and the IRA total. And let's just carry that forward to age 65. And if you max out from age 50 to 65, you can still hit $1 million. Okay, at this point, I always get some questions, so I'm going to take some time to address that. People ask, what's the difference between a 401k and an IRA? What's a Roth? How much can I put in? There are two types of retirement accounts in terms of taxes, traditional and Roth. With the traditional, it's going to give you a tax break up front, so the contribution does not count as taxable income in the year that you earn it. However, withdrawals, all the growth becomes taxable when you withdraw it in retirement. So if you've got that $1 million and you want to withdraw 300,000 all of a sudden and pay off your house, say, all that's going to be taxable. And if you withdraw that much at quite a high rate. With the Roth, on the other hand, it's not going to give you a tax break in the year that you earn it and contribute it. Because you're going to go ahead and pay tax on that money in that year, and then you're going to contribute it, and all those gains are going to be tax-free. So when you withdraw the money in retirement, it's yours. And now there are two types of retirement account in terms of where they are. The 401k, and for military folks and government people, TSP. Those are provided by your company. Some companies provide them, some do not. Some offer matching, some offer Roth. And when you leave your company, I recommend that you transfer that to your financial institution so that all your stuff is kept in one place. The maximum contribution currently in 2017 for the 401k or TSP is $18,000. And if you're over 50, you can add another $6,000 to that, and that does not count the amount of matching funds. That's just your contribution. An IRA is something that you get from your financial institution. It has nothing to do with your job. So you can contact Vanguard or E-Trade or USAA or whatever institution acts as a brokerage for mutual funds for you. And again, you can choose traditional Roth. I suggest you choose Roth because, again, all those gains in retirement are going to be tax-free and yours in your hand. The max contribution, again, in 2017 for an IRA is $5,500, and if you're over 50, you can add $1,000 to that. So if you're not in 2017, go ahead and Google what the maxes are because they do change from time to time. This is the Millionaire PDF file. This is just a simple at-a-glance thing to show you where you need to be at to make that goal of $1 million. So this is your age on the left-hand side, and across the top is the age at which you will become a millionaire. So in other words, if you wanted to become a millionaire at age 60, then at 20 you would need $46,000, or at 40 you would need $214,548. So basically, you can kind of keep track with where you are versus where you want to be just at a glance on this form. You're going to move down, like it or not, as you age. The goal is to move to the right and bring that millionaire goal line closer. Okay, this is the 401k planner. This is a tool that you can use to reach whatever your target is. In this case, the target is 18,000 for the maximum under 50. I've put in a salary just randomly of $70,000. You can put in whatever your salary is here, and then you just do trial and error percentages until you come up with the amount you want. In this case, 25% of your salary contributed to 401k for the entire year will result in just over $18,000, and they'll cut you off at $18,000, so this $375 won't actually be taken. So you want to make sure that your last payday's contribution is more than $375, and actually more than $375 in so much as that you can still get the matching money. So you want to still contribute whatever the company match is in order to get the match before they cut you off. In this case, I've set this up with a 5% bonus and a place for $1,000 bonus if that's applicable. There are two paydays, 10th and 25th. You can change that, tweak this however you want to. The plan 2 is set up for, maybe you want to stack up front because maybe your company's got a really good 401k and you want to put as much in the early months of the year as possible, and then scale back later. Maybe that'll afford you the opportunity to change jobs midway through the year or something, and still get the max out of your 401k. So this is going to max you out the same as this one did, just in a different way. And you're still getting all your matching money, assuming that the max is not more than 10%. It probably isn't. So, and plan 3, this is what you don't want to do. Say your company allows you to contribute 80%, you just do that without regard to the max at all. They're going to cut you off in April because you've already reached your max. And then from May forward, you're not going to be able to contribute at all, and therefore you'll miss out on all that matching money. So don't do that. This is what I call my 401k selector. What I've done is I've taken all the funds available in my 401k, and I've copied the data from the 401k provider into this Excel worksheet, and I've copied the S&P 500 fund, which is this Fidelity S&P 500 index fund. I've copied this data up into row number 2. Row number 2 is what determines what turns green. So I've set this up with conditional formatting so that any returns greater than the row 2 returns will turn green, and any expense ratio less than the row 2 expense ratio will turn green. And I've just set this at 0.5%. That way anything less than 0.5% will turn green, and anything equal to or greater than the S&P 500 returns will turn green. And that's how we're going to select our funds. We're going to look at what turns green under those conditions, and take some time and look at my analysis of the funds and look at my recommendations over here. Your 401k is probably going to provide some different funds, but this gives a basic idea of how to evaluate your choices against the performance of the S&P 500 while keeping your expense ratio as low as possible. Okay, so what about military folks and government workers who are using TSP? Let's go over that briefly. Okay, I recommend the common stock fund that's going to be comparable to the S&P 500 we talked about in the 401k slide. Should put 70% there. That's going to be a solid performer. It covers the 500 biggest companies. And then after that, we should look at the small cap fund. Put 20% there. Small cap funds can sometimes outperform the S&P 500, and it covers the other segment of the market with the smaller companies. And then we're going to put a little bit in international, 10%. We want to avoid the life cycle, government, and income funds because they just don't perform as well as the 3 that I recommend. So once again, CSI, 70, 20, 10. Okay, the last form I want to show you is the investment calculator for early retirement. I've loaded in the numbers for the college graduate who got a good job and put $23,500 in at age 22 and 23. You might remember that from before. And that turns into $1 million at age 59. Suppose that person continues to put in up until age 30. At this point, we scroll forward to age 60, and we're at $3.88 million, almost $4 million. So at this point, you've almost reached the point of diminishing returns where you're tying up retirement funds that you can't access until 59 and a half, and you're only 30 years old. So at this point, what I would recommend is cut that back to a point where you can just maybe get the matching money from your 401k. Let's just say $3,500, and let's do that until 50 years old. And you'll see that at 60 years old, that's going to turn into $4.3 million. That's a lot of money. But now let's look at that $20,000 that you didn't put in. Let's say you put that into a non-retirement account. Let's delete all this other stuff. You put in that $20,000 that you cut back from putting into retirement, and let's just copy that forward from 31 to 50. Oops. And what that does for you is at age 50, putting that $20,000 into a non-retirement account is going to make you $1 million at age 50, which means that you can draw 8% of that. That's going to be $7,000 a month without ever diminishing the $1 million. And actually, it wouldn't matter if you diminish the $1 million, because you remember you've got, at age 60, you've got another $4.3 million coming from your retirement fund. So this is actually pre-retirement. So this is how you can retire early once you've satisfied the requirements for retirement. All right, I hope that was useful and inspiring, but it takes action and commitment on your part, sacrifice. You have to go at it for the long term. You have to live a little bit below your means and have a plan to save. And if you're in debt, then you got to clean that up first. So I recommend you check out Dave Ramsey's podcast, and good luck.